Today is June 21st, 2022, and yesterday I reported on my father's issue related to Slovenian Supreme Court, related to Slovenian government, um, police foremost. I wouldn't even go into issues of General Hospital Novo Mesto. The two are gonna have to face one another on the court because I'm taking the case to the court. Just basically to see how the two are gonna handle the issues between one another. This is gonna be a hell case. Today, the father, best for me is to play you video recordings next to all this stuff. I'm going to include right below this video. I'll post also audio recording about what went on during my stay at father. I have identified some people, like for instance a guy who has his brother, and now, well, since I don't know, maybe 2000 or something like this, also his son in Canada. In 2003, it was Prince Andrew who got him a better, more lucrative employment in Canada. So that's person that was identified on this video, plus from the receptionist what became a relative. He was involved in MK Ultra, and there was some kind of a marriage with a family member somehow that developed out of that one. The main thing, however, here is interesting. But even before I try to get to father, and I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming. Actually, why would I blame anybody? I don't like to argue with the logic. I'd rather take this to the court. And if I return myself to beginning of this video, witness the resolution between the two institutions. One is police, another one is hospital, General Hospital Novo Mesto. How interesting to get the two together. How interesting to get some other institutions together, which we also, in this case, this will include Supreme Court. I don't have really anything other to say than my father was in horizontal position today, choking himself with the saliva, with the mucus, whatever. He had COVID. He couldn't speak to me to begin with. I figured out maybe because he can't hear what I'm saying. It becomes from video itself evident that he had a full mouth also, so that he couldn't hear me talking to him. To one, it became evident that his mouth was full, stuffed with this saliva, with this stuff that he needed to spit out. However, in a fully horizontal position, if you imagine, possibly you can imagine, he was just silent with full mouth of this thing, mouthful of this saliva, with hands tied to the bed, both hands tied to the bed, completely incapable to assist himself with whatever would be that he could use to spit this saliva out of his mouth. And so, since he couldn't talk, I figured out he couldn't hear me either. the issue that goes into MK Ultra times when they were playing with a hearing aid. With a hearing aid, literally, with the guys I would go to visit, they played with them by having a hearing aid taken from the room, and in meanwhile, when they would go ask at the front desk, delivered behind their backs inside of the room back to father and stuff like this. It had happened to me the same thing twice. I video recorded it. There was no hearing aid. The first time I went, the hearing aid magically appeared back inside of the room. On two other occasions, the hearing aid never appeared anywhere. Mother took father's hearing aid at home. However, father purchased from me one of my hearing aids. I bought myself 3 hearing aids, and they work really well. So I figure out, because she liked that, maybe even better than the original expensive hearing aid, to just give him one for a few euros instead. So he purchased that, and so now he is even without that hearing aid. There was a tremendous pressure on me about my attitude at the hospital for, like, I'm gonna say, like 1 month already. It was complaints for which, however, the hospital staff did not have absolutely any grounds. Um, I have audio recorded absolutely every visit. After all, there's nothing you can complain about when there is no reasoning for that. Now, this stuff was used to silence me, to shut my mouth, because they believe that because this is a department of neurology and it's psychiatry related, that I'm just gonna shut my mouth and go along with it. A receptionist today, just as I started at the beginning of the video, before I would even go upstairs, he told me that he heard something about my having conflicts with the nurses, and so that I better take care of myself, in a sense, so he doesn't have to come upstairs and stuff like this. But this is a friendly receptionist that I have identified, friendly receptionist who was involved in MK Ultra, that I will also like to keep as friendly. What I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to explain is that hospital did not hesitate, including yesterday when I was at the administration building talking to a head staff. They did not hesitate to exercise pressure on me to be silent about this, to be compliant, to go along with it. They have absolutely used anything they possibly could. I don't know. We're gonna meet each other on the court, like I have stated before I left. I have also reprimanded them about his issue of being incapable to even spit saliva out of his mouth. He could really choke on that in a completely horizontal position with the both hands tied. The best is going to be to see the videos in end, so then you can get some idea about what goes on. It's really important also to note that, and also you're going to see that on the video, just yesterday I have delivered through administration. I have announced myself on Friday will deliver them required per regional court in Novo Mesto requests to obtain from the physician, therefore from the father's physician at neurology department, Dr. Yancheva, her statement on father is condition, health condition, and also, the drugs that he's required to take. Therefore, zdravljenje. That's from the regional court here in Novo Mesto. This is what needs to be fulfilled if you do want to become, if you want to apply to become a home carer. You want to take care of somebody, which, yes, I will. And next to this procedure, which I think we're gonna just surpass this, is gonna be a procedure against this hospital, General Hospital Novo Mesto, because of what I stated right now. Hospital did go too far, and because of what I stated yesterday on the video right here, that you can see, it appears that a physician, Dr. Yancheva, decided to have my father transferred to a home for elderly people as early as on Thursday. You see, this is what I delivered them. There's a date here, June 20, 2022. This is also what I find out today, that they will not assist me with the paperwork required by a regional court of Novo Mesto. Yes, they will not assist me. They will not give me any of this stuff. It won't be necessary, because according to nurses to a hospital, General Hospital Novo Mesto, my father is going to be transferred to home for elderly people. This was the answer they gave me, and it's going to be on Thursday. So it was delivered to them on Monday, that was yesterday, on June 20, 2022. And so that appears is used as some sort of strategical element that will postpone and delay, basically require from me to repeat the procedure at the home for elderly people to get this done. So that's why tomorrow we're just gonna make a little detour, and we're gonna hopefully press charges, criminal charges, against the hospital, General Hospital of Novo Mesto, instead of my maybe even wasting time with this stuff. Maybe this stuff is going to be still necessary, but the police is going to get involved in this, like it or not. And it's going to be interesting to see which police department, how it will consider obravnavo in Slovenian language. I'm not good with English with this. How are they gonna consider this issues? And it's gonna be really easy to just follow up on it. A certain procedure the United Nations Court in Strasbourg require before consider from their end to assist one. Yeah, because on a national level, when you go on a national level and you think you follow something, you don't even know what the fuck you follow. These days, ladies and gentlemen, the best is to prepare for the worst and start with requirements. By fulfilling requirements, where in the worst case scenario you still would have to turn to obtain justice. And that's, in my case, that's Amnesty. Actually, Amnesty sucks. United Nations and say UN sucks too. UN and Court in Strasbourg. anything else, provenly already, I have fallen really, really short in the past, and also as a result, also at UN and at court in Strasbourg, human rights, because they say he didn't fulfill this and that, even if he did 1,000 times, but still. So that's how we're gonna develop this case from here on. And the best thing, the stuff that I have a little spoke about, I know this stuff is confusing. We'll just go for me to go to this here. This is a list of videos I'm going to present you with. For instance, this is my father today, and logical is you only have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and even those 20 minutes they try to shred me. It's just each time I came, they entered the room and they were going to take care of father, whatever, and so I ended up waiting outside in a hallway so that they would do their stuff, and then you could enter. And then they would tell you that you stayed, you took too long, and so on. That's also was implemented as one of the strategies. This year became disturbing. In other words, my having to deal with this kind of issue that you cannot even speak to a human being because he doesn't have a hearing aid. That's bullshit. By the way,
Kaj delam v bistvu? Snemam tukaj dokaz, da se igrajo z slušnimi aparati, slušnih.
They play with a hearing aid, so it's the second time that I did what you're seeing here. I did make sure that I did video record it twice, this stuff. One time they got me, then on 2 other occasions, this here it's what took place. I video recorded everything, whatever was inside of the room. No. So, who is doing this stuff? This stuff is doing, the nurses are doing this kind of stuff. I want you, hold a little bit, just look at me. Right next to the father's room, number 12, there is another room. Father went into exactly the same rooms. It's completely a rehearsal of MK Ultra, repetition of MK Ultra incidents. Room 12, next to room 12, there's another room that is adjacent, and that's what one of the nurses, maybe that's not even possible, who the fuck knows, but one of the nurses involved in MK Ultra and I met now claimed me every time you would go inside, I will be listening to your conversation between you and father. I will only go inside to listen the conversation between you and father so that you're not going to be rough or something like this and you're not going to do something illegal and that kind of stuff. That's what she insisted me on that MK Ultra. They're fucking around with a hearing aid, claiming that there is no something, basically playing on self-assurance of an individual, insecurity, basically building insecurity in one, arguing with the hospital staff about it. That sounds like a psychiatric bullshit. That sounds like somebody playing with the issues known as a paranoid schizophrenia, isn't it? It goes along with all that kind of stuff, so that I can tell that I'm not happy with this hospital staff at all, because they're doing some stuff that they completely shouldn't. They're getting into area that really, I'm not intimidated. I'm not intimidated even a little bit. It's actually, I feel really, really good about this. I feel really, really positive about it. Because I know that it's just a matter of time before I'm gonna melt you fucking down. I told you. When I said that to you, I wasn't joking. And so, you can do all you want. It won't do much really for you. Here I had a light turned on, and you cannot. You, father's lips can't be actually seen, but I see that his lips are not in a way. Uh, my mother said that he also is refusing to eat, that he is waving with his hands. Um, I observed father like doing exactly the opposite of what the nurse did when she entered the room. She went ahead and she stashed him inside of the ears without him even knowing she was present, hearing aid. And that's actually what made me extremely uncomfortable when I observed, hey, when I left the hospital, they did exactly as they promised me they would. They would put me under the car, a brick like this. That kind of shit too happened. That was on a June 16. Completely rehearsal of MK Ultra, and they told me if you're gonna drive up to the first, it's like they use on the roads like obstacle for you to slow down the car, or you can break the car. If you're not gonna realize that you're dragging the brick, you're gonna destroy the car and stuff like this. This is a father's car. So it's all kinds of shit that goes on. They play with all kinds of stuff like this. And really, um, this is some June 16 father was without. I'm making sure that he does have his stuff. Here again, I go over the hearing aid stuff and I video record whether I can have the hearing aid. Trust me, there's no fucking hearing aid anywhere inside of the room. You can see that around his mouth he's always wet. That's because there's a saliva. Imagine that he sleeps with a mouth full of the saliva in a completely horizontal position. That can be dangerous, but he's capable to control this saliva enough not to choke himself with it. The nurses claim me the father is waving hands and doing all kinds of stuff. So we go back to this video in a little bit. I'm gonna get back to this video. Here, this is the shoes they gave him. Royal class. My father is just brainwashed, man, completely. He really was stupid to cooperate with them, and now he's paying the price for it. Look at his hands. That doesn't look too damn good. That's a nurse. And look what's going on here. That's a nurse. I, by coincidence, have had camera on. She entered inside before this already, and then she just kept fucking going and going and going and going. And that kind of behavior, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, but it makes me feel that when I was trying to give him a hearing aid, and he go like this. Well, what was this taken? This was on a June 15. That they played with him enough for him to become like this. So that just before this, he was inside of this hospital where you would go and you would use to rehabilitate someone. No, he was sent from neurology department to the portion of the hospital, or this part of the hospital where he would supposedly recuperate. You know, nursery, in that sense. But boy, they didn't give him any kind of liquid, anything like this. And I think it was in the last moment that afternoon I got this, for the intravenous watering infusion fusion to revive him again, because he would be fucking dead. His heart was doing like this, tick 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 tick. Now he comes back. The man is dehydrated completely. He's 91-year-old, and it just appears to me that a health staff staff, the people, aren't paying attention to actually that they took, considering they had me inside and tortured me heavily inside of this neurology department on the third floor. There is no grounds. I have no reason not to believe they didn't torture him. So that he became so rejective, so bothered, disturbed. Because when she goes, he is like, you can become, his hands are tied up. You become like this if somebody will just go and just to you something like this, you can become like this. He can start to act easily like that. And if you're in a very bad physical shape, he had a COVID also in a hospital. This is 91-year-old person. Look, as a health professional, you have to find a way to communicate with the patient. With the patient, you must be patient, unless the patient is too smart. But this is good beauty about working at the neurology department. If somebody's doing a trouble to you, you have available also mental health staff, so they can come and give you assistance if somebody deliberately is doing something to you. Unfortunately, in this situation of mine, it was health professionals from one branch and the other that collaborated with one another in what I will refer to police as a torture. And well, I'm not supposed to be video recording, and audio recording is what I was told. In this case, we can clearly see, he's tied. The other hand is also tied. That health professional just doesn't either walk away or find a way to communicate with him. Right? We don't see anything. Let's do it again.
Vi kar dejte.
No, I just do it.
Vročina bom zmerla.
So she did to him one time already.
Vročina bi
Before
zmerla.
I can even.
Pogledu pa sem ne vem, gleda, ne vem kako.
Gospod Savo, vročina bom zmerla.
Lejte, jaz bom pa zdaj eno stvar povedal. Način, na katerega ste mu pristopila, se ne pristopi. To vam bom povedal, da boste dobili pa vrnili pritožbe zdaj.
Here, basically,
Vi kar dejte.
I tell her, yeah, go ahead, please. I'm gonna take a fever from him. Yeah, go ahead. My father is without hearing aid. He doesn't know. He's not aware. No. He's not
Vi
aware.
kar dejte.
He sleeps.
Kar dejte.
And here you can see how he moves the hand. That's because the nurse just goes and just sticks him that shit inside of his ears. And you can see that he's rejecting this stuff, that he's scared. He's just doing the same thing you're gonna see.
Vročina bom zmerla.
Now he is disturbed. He's got mental problems, dehydrated, came from the other hospital, he was with the COVID. If I go to Tatiana Proksh, a psychiatrist involved in torture against me, she demanded next to Petar Kapš, but she was the one who craved for me to get COVID so that it could be seen the actual mental state of mind under what she claimed virus, that's bad enough. I didn't know it's going to be COVID. They rated, as I stated, they play with the viruses, and they rated 2 of the viruses as good enough to be used to actually even determine under the certain conditions, situation, whether you do suffer from mental health problems or not, because under the normal circumstances where the psychiatrist claimed me and others, to whom they insisted this is just a necessary part, it's difficult to see whether the people have mental health problems or not. So they fuck you up even like 28 years of life, and they continue to search for something so that they can find and rationalize, I suppose, their diagnosis labeling from 2012, right? So this is basically what we get here in this case. So you can see that this is not, she doesn't stop herself. She doesn't, in other words, find a way to communicate with him. Forget about hearing aid. What the fuck is that? They never used hearing aid inside of the hospital, believe it or not. I have alerted them on this issue on at least 10 occasions more. I left them a hearing aid over there. Mother instead brought one back. Why the fuck would you bring one at home if it was given so that you can use one? Where are you going to use one if not in hospital? So, but I left my hearing aid there. So they could play with a hearing aid and do the stuff like this. Very, very, very no good. No good, no good, no good. No, me mucho worry about video recordings and audio recordings. You're gonna get them, police will get them, the fucking internet will get them, the court will eat them. So, it's called Panem et Circe, Bread and Games. It was a old Roman saying. So in this case, we're gonna see between the police departments itself and the hospital staff how they're gonna find a solution to this problem. There's like other stuff here to present, for me to present. Yeah, I want to demonstrate you that with whatever they were doing to him, he became completely inaccessible. Even for like the best treatment that you can
Mi ne dovoliš, da bi dal v ušes?
I am
Dajmo,
demonstrating
no,
him
če ne se ne morava slišati, slušni aparat. Boš probal? Slušni aparat, ti lahko dam v ušes.
That's the first thing I always did. This is
Lahko
my
dam to v
personal
ušes.
hearing aid.
Tej. Ne?
That's not the one I left
Ni.
to the father. And that's also not
Ni.
his hearing aid from social services.
My father's health condition deteriorated completely. Meanwhile,
You can see that even when I take approach of demonstrating what I had and what you see right there, I have repeated on at least 2 other occasions. It will be presented to you in the video here, in audio. However, this is going to be in a Slovenian language. Whether you can get that translated or not, but I cannot be wasting my life translating shit for you when I actually need a police assistance here to handle this issue. What here for me else to say than what I already told you? Somehow I was not lucky to position camera that would allow me to, I thought I did, basically record the whole thing, how it was, how he had the full mouth of the Sullivan, stuff like this. Finally I made him spit that shit out, but
čakaj, da vidim snegi.
he somehow, aha, okay, here is when I turn the light on, and here you can actually really see his lips.
Takole bomo. Ker ti imaš čist usnice, imaš
Okay, so I also shaved him, did that kind of stuff.
Zateklo vse skupaj.
Yeah, his lips
Grozno
are
izgleda.
just swollen. Yeah. And you're gonna see how he is spitting the stuff. I'm trying to make him spit, and he just doesn't somehow understand. Is the struggle that went on. It's really his health tremendously deteriorated. Now that's really his mental health that suffered inside of the hospital. That's all I can say. So on Thursday, apparently he would be transferred to a home for elderly people and so on. But I think in Tuesday already that I will intercept foremost the physician that refused and try to rationalize with his transfer to the home for elderly people. So to submit me his physical condition, his I'm not gonna say health record, but whatever is required from regional court to be used for the purposes of becoming care for the person, right? So that's just my little input. There is no fucking respect here from my end. Practically, from my audio recordings, it becomes evident that it's quite a few employees at the hospital, General Hospital now, Mesto, that I can put them like this at what they say, Yerebova jail. That's actually a practice in the United States that's known as a careless, it's a careless act. I don't want to say wrong. Out of carelessness. And that's the kind of stuff that medical staff, usually if it is charged with. It's not okay. This is completely covering up for a politic from Ljubljana. Nobody, absolutely nobody will like you say, a remote controller. Nobody will control me, through the issues like this. You wanna issues like this is just gonna be your loss. It came to me expensive, but I'm gonna make sure that you pay that back with the interest rate. Underneath of this stuff, I'm gonna put the audio recording in Slovenian language. That's all I can do right now, and we'll update tomorrow on this situation with the father. Tomorrow already, however, it's going to be Wednesday. I was told, guaranteed, there's no way that father will get to a home for elderly people. Home for elderly people, no, Mest, I already have identified one. But he was in other homes throughout Slovenia already. That was one of the advantages they claimed to my parents. Get to know a facilities and choose yourself the best one next to Thurman, next to whatever and stuff like this. I don't want to get into that stuff. That's stupid. Well, maybe you end up going on an auto stopping or something like this. It could happen that if he gets transferred and I'm going to have to follow up through whatever procedure court will choose for me to, I will have to comply eventually with it till I get the things done, right? Because, that's how they do it, basically. This is what it is. So, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to give you a time and date here because it's still gonna play an important stuff. I don't know whether I did play this stuff or not. Have I done this or not to you? Yeah, this is what I gave yesterday to... Oh, they complain that I actually took the pictures, video of this thing here. I'll take full fucking responsibility for it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just don't fucking worry about it. You guys are gonna have more serious problems to deal with. Don't worry about it. There you go. It was submitted yesterday to receptionists. No answer available, anything whatsoever. Yeah. That's just the way it is. Let's go. We gotta take a date and time. Now, all up like this and like that, as you can see here. June 21st, and time 20 minutes to $1,900. Thanks for watching this video.